So I came back last night from my New Year holiday, and I think now this is a really good yapping time. I think yapping's been pretty much my favorite activity for 2025. Anyway, so I came back last night around midnight, and I woke up after 12 hours of sleep, after taking my rest, and I kind of had the same situation that I was in last month because I also did a trip last month when I went to Spain. I traveled through Valencia with my friend, and then we got back through Budapest. He went back home to Baku, and I came to Austria. So what happened was kind of the same thing. I woke up the next day. I have no fucking food, man. I have nothing to eat. I mean, to be fair, I had some, cookies that my friend gave me, and I had that with some authentic tea. Yeah. Anyway, I decided to go out. Decided to go some grocery shopping and doing some of those things because like tomorrow is going to be my first day of college again. Like after holiday, I'm going to be busy. I'm going to have a lot of things on my plate. I didn't want to just do all those things. What happened? Today was a holiday, 6th of January. It's a holiday in Austria, and it's kind of near to impossible to find a supermarket open or any kind of other shops probably open on any holiday in Austria. Last time it was on Sunday. I was back Saturday. The day after that was Sunday, and everywhere was closed. But anyway, these are just the context to let you know what's happening. I came back home. I was kind of angry that I have nothing to eat. But then I suddenly realized that in any moment that you want to complain, there is always and always one small thing at least to be grateful for. And that was the moment that I waited and I started to reflect on what I want to be grateful for. And the fact that I spent 10 days, and before that, the past trip, the previous one was 7 days out of where I was blessed with people. And the only reason I didn't have food was because I didn't want to keep food. And maybe they might have got spoiled or whatever. I didn't want to overextend, overbuy things. So that was the moment I realized there is always something to be grateful about. I was so grateful that I had the chance to go on the trip, coming back, and all of these things. So I'm probably going to yap a lot about this trip because it gave me a lot of perspectives on different things. So I always had this idea of how traveling can change someone, and I think for me the biggest reward that traveling can give you, and I'm really in love with this quote that says traveling leaves you speechless and then turn you into a storyteller. I'm a storyteller myself. I want to be a storyteller. I want to have stories to be told. This is my motto for life. But then I think about all of those trips that I've been to, and I always think about how I'm going to approach this. Because I remember like 4 years ago, I was going to have my first solo trip. I was fucking depressed, and this is one of the stories that is less often shared with people. I was so depressed. I was in Copenhagen, and I was going through a heartbreak. I wasn't taught how to do that, how to deal with heartbreaks. I think this was my first major heartbreak, so that was kind of what was making it more difficult as well. And believe me, when you're depressed, the best you can do is to get out of your bed. And I was planning to go on a solo trip that time. The reason that I was planning was because I wanted to get out of that situation. I didn't want to spend another second with the version of me that I was there. And I booked my trip to Budapest. I went there and I spent, I think, 3 days there. And I remember all of those conversations that I had with my father. My father was telling me, like, there's this castle in Buda, there's this, I don't know, interesting thing, the parliament, all of these things, all of the buildings, beautiful nature, and all of other places, sightseeing that you could have done. And it kind of hit me later on that the reason that I liked Budapest wasn't only because of those places, but it was because it took me kind of out of the situation I was in. I was in a colder place. I was in Copenhagen. Everywhere was cold. As I mentioned, I was struggling with something mentally, and then I got out of that place. I went to Budapest. It was warmer. It was around I think 18 degree or something. It was extremely warmer than Copenhagen. I could get some sun, and I had the chance to go from one bridge to another. That's why I always remember Budapest with Danube. With the, I think Danube is so far my favorite river. I've been to a couple of cities that had rivers going through the city, but I think Danube so far has been my favorite river, and I'm kind of also excited that I'm really close to Danube from here. I think probably like 30 minutes from where I stay now. I can go to Danube. I can spend some time there. But anyway, that's not what I was talking. So I was reflect and go back to that trip because after Budapest, I went to Vienna. For people who've been to both of the cities, they can immediately say the difference that Vienna is the buildings are way cleaner. Maybe the transport, like the way that city operates, is also way different than Budapest. I mean, at least for one thing for sure that you can see the tram system. I mean, in Vienna, I think it's way more modern, and there are a lot of differences that you can see, like that the elegance that Vienna has. And don't take me wrong, I enjoyed the trip in Vienna as well, but for me, Budapest at that time gave me something else because I felt like I'm at home. So I could walk. I started to talk to people. I kissed someone in a party there. That was so fucking random, man. So that's why trying to get this approach and trying to maybe see if it works for other cities as well. And I was discussing this with my friend that maybe the point in trips are not the places that we visit only. Maybe it's about the version of us that becomes there. So I was depressed. Budapest helped me to feel a bit better, to be more active, to go around, to have talk, to know that I shouldn't be living in my head. The heartbreak is not the end of the world. And all of those things. For the past 4 months, I've been traveling to a couple of countries, and I've so far traveled 3 times in the past 4 months to Budapest. And yesterday it hit me that the reason that I love Budapest a lot is because Budapest is, in a sense, my resilience point. So it's where I could get on my feet for the first time at that time 4 years ago. This year now I'm struggling with other things. I just moved to a new country. I have to find a job. I can't find a job. I've been just rejected over and over, and all those things. Financial struggles, many other things you might be dealing when you're moving abroad. I'm going to talk about it probably in a separate video. But all those things, and then I go to Budapest and I come back, and I'm just like, bro, like life is good again. So probably that would be my approach to like how you can interpret a city, how you can frame it, how you can make a narrative out of it. The other thing that I think I like about tripping, about going on a trip, not tripping, of course, about going on trips is that traveling makes you humble. As a matter of fact, you go to another city and you see people who live in a different way. And I think judgment usually comes because of misalignments of what we think is true or misalignment with what we believe is correct. And when that doesn't happen, we start to judge things. We start to, either criticize them or either try to undermine them or trying to, put labels that are, yeah, that might not be the best at that point. But I think as you start to travel, and if you do it openly, open-mindedly, you start to get humble because you see so many different systems. And the thing is, like, you start to realize that those things also work. That's why people survive there. That's why people are still alive there. And over time, you start to kind of, this expression that get over yourself. You start getting over yourself. You're just, bro, I'm just one individual, and there are definitely many, many more ways of living, ways of thinking, and all of those things. And that's why you start to get humbler. Start saying like, I'm just an individual, and there are many ways of seeing things. There are many philosophies. There are many perspectives. There are many attributes that you can share. But I think that that's something that makes you humble. And something I really loved about most of my trips is that I also get to some points that I learn new things from people. One of the trips that I did last year, I went to Brussels. Brussels was always a city that my father talked about it, how beautiful it is, how Belgium is super modern, like how people are happy and all those things. And I could say by the end of that trip, I could feel some of those things for sure. But the first expectation that I had was that Brussels is a different country. And I arrived to the central station, to Gare du Midi, and I just see many homeless people. And that was kind of a weird thing. And when I mentioned the judgment part, it comes from misalignments. For me, seeing many homeless people, it's kind of not a usual thing. At least at that time that I was living in a country that didn't have many homeless people, I saw that, and then I had the judgment immediately, like, that what the hell is happening in this country. And one of the other things that was kind of shocking me was that everywhere I could sit around the central station, it smelled like pee, and I couldn't just endure it. I mean, I spent a couple of hours there. The day after that, I did a day trip to Luxembourg, and the third day I was in Brussels. I had the chance to meet with my friend, a friend of mine who I I really appreciate or really respect his opinion. We were talking about many things, catching up, trying to see what's been happening. They also moved to Brussels. They had moved to Brussels for a while, uh, and all of a sudden I told him like, bro, what's with the Brussels? Because there are many homeless people here, and I just don't understand why. And he said, yeah, I know that, but have you tried to listen to them? And that was kind of, the hitting moment. I was like, what do you mean to listen to them? Do they have something interesting to say? And maybe that was the version of me. Maybe that was my mindset at that time. But then I start to think about it. Like, many of those people, they might have probably been to more countries that I've been. Many of those people might have known better, I don't know, philosophies. They might have learned more things. They might have. I don't have any university degree. Some of them they might have. I saw this video that was. I don't know if it was true or not, but the guy was a JavaScript developer. So bro, like, he was an engineer, and then I started to think about it. And a couple of weeks ago, I was in Linz, and this homeless guy on the tram started to talk to a lady, and the lady immediately turned, and she said like, excuse me, I don't speak German. And I thought maybe this is just a, you know technique or whatever to just get rid of the homeless guy. The guy started to speak English in a fluent way, and she started to listen to him. I was kind of shocked that it can actually happen in reality. And the fact that guy could speak English in that fluency, I was kind of like, bro, what's with all the judgment? So I think that's the place that traveling makes you humble. Travel gives you new perspectives. Traveling gives you new ideas of how life can happen in different places. And one last thing I think I love about traveling is that I also, by the way, have this. I have, I think, this habit of saying, like, for example, like, this bottle. It's been, I think, to 5 countries so far. So I kind of like to see these kind of things. This is my wallet. A friend of mine recently for my birthday, yeah, gifted to me when we were in Spain. But the funny thing is, he bought this from Netherlands, but he gave it to me in Spain. So the thing that kind of was fascinating was this is produced in Spain. So it was kind of like, like I was like, I I got a Spanish gift wallet that was gifted to me. I was bought in Netherlands, but I received it in Spain. So how small the world is. At some point, so it was gifted to me. It is my officially first wallets that I'm using. I wasn't really used to getting many wallets, but now I have a lot of cards that I have to keep. Yeah. Anyway, so one other thing that I really like about traveling is like I have this library card that I had it opened yesterday in Budapest, Elte library card. This is a great place to study, to work. I spent a couple of hours there, and I have this one a 10 trip ticket in Valencia. It still has some tickets. That's not just for memorial purposes. So I think what I like about traveling is also these are the physical pieces that you get and you can carry with yourself. But every city, in a way, is giving you a piece of itself to you. And when I look back and I think I haven't been to many countries, to be honest, I've been only probably to 15, 16. I'm not saying this out of humbleness, it's because I have this extreme ambition to go around and to see more. So, and I think every city gives you something. Every city, and when I think I would never try salmon soup, but I did it in Finland. I don't know. I would never probably do many. I would never think about listening to a homeless person if I didn't go to Brussels. I would never think about the beauty of nature if I didn't go to Prague. I would never. There are many things that I would never probably do if I didn't travel. Or there are many things that I learned how to do. I started to do because I saw some of those things. For example, I moved here. Okay, that's a valid point, but like I would probably never start like there's this thing called top and I will talk about it later about this food, but like I would never probably eat that if I saw that in Azerbaijan, like where I lived for 8 years. So wherever you go, you get a piece that you either wouldn't do because of that, or there's a piece that like you would never try, you would never know how part of you, like I would never go to sauna like naked, full naked. I would never do any of those things, man. Traveling makes you humble. Traveling give you small pieces, and in essence, coming to the Budapest story, traveling transform you in a different way that you could even imagine. So I'm just extremely grateful for what happened. Yeah. So I wish many more travels, many more trips on 2026.